Hey, good evening. And in about 10 minutes, it'll be good morning Central Time. And welcome to SportsBeat Live. And we are going to talk about the Chiefs' 34-20 victory over the Baltimore Ravens with several people, including three who are with us right now. There's Vahe Gregorian from Baltimore. Hey, Vahe.
Is my mic working?
No. Yes, it is Vahe. Pete Grathoff is here, and so is Sam McDowell. We'll be joined later by Herbie Teope and Sam Mellinger. And guys, I don't know about you, but this is not the game that I expected. It didn't unfold the way I thought it might. It was, with the exception of a couple of possessions in the second half, just a Chiefs night all around. Let's go to you first, Vahe, in Baltimore. And you're sitting in the press box. As I recall, a great vantage point in that Ravens press box. You're pretty close to the field. And how did it look? How did it seem? How did it feel?
Yeah, good memory, Blair. It is a really good angle there. Even so, you sort of couldn't believe what you were seeing in the first half. A quick aside here is I'm back in the hotel room, and I'm bringing this up just because it's sort of the indication of the COVID times that I was able to stay at a hotel in walking distance of the stadium at a cut rate, which normally wouldn't happen. And it just sort of speaks to the moment, right? That this arguably build up as the NFL regular season game of the year to this point, you still can't have it be what it would normally be. And I think that the Ravens probably would have benefited from fans in the stands. They had 250 of them there, family members, but that was not quite enough. So my big takeaway, so to speak, is simply this: that I don't think the Ravens think they can beat the Chiefs. I don't think they know it in their hearts, and that can turn. It can turn with one game, with one break. But as of this moment, I think that's part of an edge the Chiefs have on everybody. And this was the team that you thought had a shot to shut them down.
Hey, Sam. Hey, Herbie. Glad you guys could join us. Let's pick up on that. It just seems to me that the rivalry between the Chiefs and the Ravens got a little farther apart tonight. I really didn't think that would be the case when this game kicked off. And after the first possession, Ravens moved the ball down the field, got a field goal, and took a 3-0 lead. I don't know if that was a small victory for the Chiefs right then. Jackson picked up 32 yards on the one the one keeper on that drive, and I just thought, wow, Chiefs are lucky to hold this to this Ravens team to a field goal here, but. After that, for the rest of the first half, all Chiefs, and just a kind of an amazing job of putting some distance between the teams in this game. Pete, what were your big takeaways from tonight? What impressed you most about the Chiefs?
Well, the only thing that didn't really impress me was the special teams, but because the defense was just lights out. It was incredible. That first half was complete domination. The Chiefs really should have won by a lot more, and the game really shouldn't have been that close. I guess what stood out more than anything was Clyde Edwards-Helaire was just phenomenal. He was great, I thought. He's a great weapon, as I think we all expected, out of the backfield, catching the ball. And so he was incredible. I just really think the Chiefs looked amazing tonight.
Yeah, so where are we psychologically with the Ravens and the Chiefs? Sam, this has to be a kind of a damaged psyche game for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, you would think, right? It would be if I was on the Ravens. They've been playing so well the first 2 weeks, and they run the ball so well. They were poised in a lot of ways. I think I said earlier today on a show that the only thing that would surprise me is a blowout, or is if the Chiefs got blown out. But I think in my heart of hearts, I was going to be surprised if there was a blowout either way. And this was a blowout. I mean, I know the Ravens closed it to a score there late, but correct me if I'm wrong, they never had the ball with a chance to tie.
Correct.
And that was, kind of an old boat race. And like the two things, the two impressions I got the most is, one, this team is so much damn fun to watch when they're going like this. Like all these, not just the wild plays, the Sherman underhand, a designed underhand touchdown pass, which I don't think we've seen yet from Mahomes. But they also, beyond just being aesthetically pleasing to watch, they really have this other gear now that I think like really great teams have. And I guess we started to see it, obviously in the postseason last year. But, I think there's something to be said about a team that doesn't play that well, like last week against the Chargers. And now they're coming into this game that everybody's been looking forward to, since the schedule came out in May or whatever. And they put together that kind of performance. Like that shows me that it's not just about the team that they're playing against, but it's sort of the standard that they have inside that, honestly, it seems like only they can reach. If they play their A game, I don't think there's anybody in this league that's going to beat the Chiefs, and I think they know it now.
Yeah, look, I think today was their A game with the exception of the special teams. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But Herbie and Sam McDowell, you guys follow the team closer than anybody. I guess I didn't appreciate enough the feeling that this team had coming out of the Chargers game last week. They were not happy with the way that they played. And between that and the, what I heard from players in the post-game audio tonight, talking and on social media, Herbie, as you pointed out to me, players motivated about how they were hearing about Lamar Jackson all week and the Ravens. It just seemed like there were some motivational edges for the Chiefs this week that maybe we didn't consider strongly enough.
Yeah, my biggest takeaway from this game is simply this: the Ravens, and to an extent also the Steelers. When I think of the AFC, when I think of the bullies of the conference, I think of those two teams first, because they are physical and they do like to impose their will on teams. And when I think of the Chiefs, I think more a little bit of finesse type deal. What we saw tonight was so impressive because the Chiefs took the Ravens' best punch, that opening drive, and it rolled off their chin, and then they just put the hammer lock down on the Ravens. And that was just flat out impressive to watch. They took the fight right to the bully, and that's what you're supposed to do against a bully. You punch a bully in the mouth, he'll never be a bully again. And like Melly mentioned there, yeah, it has to be a little bit of damaged psyche, because to the Ravens, the Chiefs were the standard. They're trying to get to where the Chiefs are. But for the Chiefs to start saying, hey, you saw the social media posts, they were pretty darn motivated to come into this game and punch the bully in the mouth and say, no, we're the kings. We're at the top of the mountain right now. We're not coming off here until someone knocks us off. So that was just flat out impressive to me.
I love the stat that ESPN posted before the game that Lamar Jackson, in games in which the Ravens have a 10-point lead, he's 18-0. In games in which his team trails, he's 0-4, now 0-5. That's a heck of a stat. And, compared to the guy he was competing against tonight on the other side, who, 24-point deficit doesn't bother that guy. So let's talk about Mahomes' game. Sam McDowell, look, I'm impressed. When are we not impressed with him? I mean, there's something every game that you just marvel at and shake your head at. And it's usually just one or two things. But I think tonight, I don't know, you might be able to make a case that this was his best game in a Chiefs uniform. 385 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, his third best passer rating game, fourth best yardage game, no interceptions. Hard to find a flaw in anything Patrick Mahomes did tonight.
I'm really eager if you guys are going to be able to hear me, because I'm having some technical difficulties. Am I coming through?
You are?
Great, because I have incredible things to say here that needs to be heard. So
spit them out, Sam.
I'm kind of wondering this from the Ravens' perspective when it comes to Patrick Mahomes, because everything that the Ravens do is predicated on blitzing like crazy. They blitz on over half the downs. and doing so differently than they've done before. Any other team in the NFL's done stuff that's unscouted. And we're learning more and more that Patrick Mahomes' strength is against blitzes. He throws better against blitzes than he does when teams just bring 4 or 3. And the unscouted looks aren't working against him. We saw a play today where it looked to be, the Ravens brought the house on the play, and he ran backwards a country mile and then throws the ball to McCole Hardman like he knew exactly what route was going to be open. And McCole Hardman had to beat his guy to be open on that, but he just knew beforehand, this is the play that's going to work, and this is the exact route on this play that's going to work. And so you've got the best team in the AFC, best other than the Chiefs, in the Ravens, that I think suddenly has to be asking themselves, are we going to have to do something different than what we're comfortable doing if we're going to get past this Chiefs team at some point this year?
That's a good question. I mean, imagine that's what John Harbaugh and Wink Martindale are asking themselves tonight as a sleepless night for Baltimore coaches, I'm sure. I don't know. It's funny. Patrick Mahomes was asked after the game what his favorite moment was or what his favorite play of the game was, and couldn't have blamed him if he had said, the touchdown underhand pass to Anthony Sherman. I wonder which bowl game from the 1940s that one came from. Or the pass to Eric Fisher, which was a beautiful thing. The first one of those kind of plays that we've seen since Melly made Hungry Pig Right a household word, and yet Mahomes had it was that touchdown pass to McCole Hardman, Sam McDowell, that you just mentioned. He said that was his favorite play of the game, and I would have picked something completely different. There was a pass in that game where he just had facing a blitz, and he sidestepped and moved around a little bit, didn't completely get out of the pocket. I can't remember who he completed the ball to, but it was a perfect strike and ended up picking up a first down. And Chiefs, I think it was 10 of 12 on third down conversions today. 3rd and 10 doesn't mean anything to this team. The pass to Hardman, I think, was a third down play. 3rd and 14, is that all? Yeah. The touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill, the 20-yard rainbow over Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how beautiful was that ball? What else can we say about this guy?
He also had the play where he jumped and faked a pass.
Yeah, that's what I was
came back
talking
down
about.
And then scrambled and threw one. And also maybe he says after the game that his best pass was the other one to McCole Hardman if Hardman had held on to that ball.
Yeah.
But I actually thought it was something funny that he mentioned about the Eric Fisher play, because that looked like maybe not his best pass of the night. And he said that he practiced throwing the ball high to Fisher throughout training camp because he wanted to test his vertical. So that pass actually wasn't quite as bad as maybe what we thought it was.
It's funny, on that play in the press box from the angle I had, I thought Mahomes was just throwing it away, especially when I saw Fisher out there. And I was like, oh, okay, touchdown. Hey, Blair, I just wanted to go back to one thing real quick that and I don't know if anybody else was surprised by this, but I thought it was a little surprising at the start of the game when the Ravens drove down the field and that Harbaugh, Mr. Go For It on 4th down, didn't go for it on 4th and 3. I thought that was, I mean, maybe that's a little far for him to go for it, but I just thought that there was a little statement there that was sort of the opposite of the statement I thought they were going to make. Maybe you can't come away with nothing on that, but I was surprised they didn't go for it.
First possession, get points. I imagine at that time the Ravens feel like they've got a good, their defense hadn't been on the field yet, and they felt like they had a good defensive game plan, which was shredded in the first possession by the Chiefs. I don't know, 4th and 3 at that point. I think I might have taken the points, but I do know that broadcasters, the ESPN crew, mentioned that. I think Greasy mentioned that. So. Let's turn our attention to the other side of the ball, and but before we do, let's put in the offense for just a moment. Every week we seem to be reminded that the Chiefs' array of targets is something nobody else has, right? I mean, I don't have the numbers in front of me. Maybe somebody's got it up on their screen, but how many guys caught at least 3 passes tonight? Was it 5, 6?
5.
Five.
Five.
Five got at least four.
Was it at least four?
Yeah.
I mean, who else is doing that, right? I mean, nobody does that. Nobody. And it's not great for your fantasy team, right? Because you're looking for that 8 reception, 120-yard, 2-touchdown game, and for all the touchdown passes Mahomes has thrown this year, I think this is right. Nobody's had 2 in one game, right? Hill's had 1 in each of the 3 games. So what a weapon that is to be able to spread the wealth and make it so difficult for defenses to lock in on a guy. And look, even we talked about Mahomes running last week. He picked up a big first down tonight on that 12-yard scramble on 3rd and 10 on what was probably the most important drive of the night for the Chiefs after the Ravens had cut it to 7. So let's switch over and talk about the defense a little bit. It was I thought it was a great game for Steve Spagnuolo, and after that first series, the Ravens, the rest of the Ravens' first half possessions ended in a punt, and a fumble. So that's how it was 27-10 at halftime. And I know, Herbie, you were kind of all over this, watching this defense and coming up with the numbers. What did the Ravens end up with production-wise tonight?
It's like hold up. Let me look real quick. 228 yards, and it was 166 yards less than what they were averaging coming into this game. I mean, the Ravens entered this game as ranking in the top 5, top 10 in numerous statistical categories. And, once again, what the Chiefs defense did there after that first drive, again, they just took that punch, rolled with it, and then they turned the tables on them. They pretty much shut them down pretty darn good to me.
Oh, yeah, they did. Mark Capel said, and Larry Looper, Frank Clark was clear on Twitter. Go to Frank Clark's Twitter page to see how he reacted. Also, Tyrann Mathieu had a nice tweet about the defense. I saw
it's after midnight, Blair. Go for it.
Yeah, this won't be in print, so yeah, go for it.
No, that sounds like a Pete Grathoff collection of. I don't know how you can use the eraser button on some of the words in those tweets, but anyway,
Blair,
what did you guys think about? What you guys, your takeaway on the defense, the way things started, and as good a game I think for Spagnuolo maybe as we've seen.
Blair, I thought that they did to the Ravens tonight what the Chargers did to the Chiefs last week to kind of throw them off. And it's just that their front four just dominated the game. Frank Clark and Chris Jones specifically, but Taco Charlton actually got deep in the backfield a couple times. But I thought that their front four just completely threw the Ravens out of sync. I also thought, and this is kind of something that Sam 1.0 has been hammering home for the past year or so, when is a team finally just going to stick to the run? And the Ravens got out of it on the very first drive. They were just completely dominating with their run game on the first drive. Then they passed the ball twice on 2nd and 3rd and short. All of a sudden, they're settling for a field goal because, like Vahe mentions, they don't go for it. And the run game wasn't that bad tonight. But for whatever reason, they continue to try to pass the ball. I think Lamar Jackson threw it 26 times and less than 100 yards, right? I mean, 3.5 yards per attempt. So I just thought that the Chiefs, anytime that the Ravens dropped back, they had contain on Lamar Jackson scrambling, and their front four just absolutely dominated to completely throw off their passing game.
I think one thing that happens, and I tell me if you guys disagree, but I do think teams kind of panic against the Chiefs. That explains a little bit of the getting away from the run. I think when it's 13-3, I think the feeling was like, they're a touchdown away from breaking this thing open, and they sort of were, but I just think it's in people's heads a little bit. You're 100% right. They got away from something that would have, I think, gotten them a lot more points.
They average, I'm just looking at the box score, they average 7.5 yards per rush.
Yeah.
Seems like that you'd want that. You would take that.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
The Ravens came in last year to Arrowhead and went for everything, including every 2-point conversion in the first half. They went for it on 4th down on their first drive. And tonight, it seemed like they were the opposite. It was like, well, we tried that last year. It didn't necessarily work. They thought the momentum of the game flipped a little bit when they didn't get the 2-point conversion, when they didn't get one of the 4th downs. But I still think some team's going to have to try that and stick with it for an entire 4th quarter. Maybe the Ravens don't think they need to be that team, but maybe that changes after what they saw tonight.
I don't know. I mean, I guess when you've got that quarterback on the other side who can take a team down the field as skillfully as he can, I think when you're the opponent, you always have to plan on the Chiefs scoring and figure out a game plan based on that. And there's only been a few games where that hasn't happened. So Andrew Leifer, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, Andrew. Could be Leifer. Andrew Leifer said everyone from the team was retweeting the picture of the analyst picking the Ravens to win. If that's the pregame on ESPN on the countdown show, I saw that as well. I was surprised nobody. All 5 people picked the Ravens, as did I in the paper, as did I. Again, we thought that there was a bit of a motivational edge for the Chiefs tonight, and whatever it takes, whatever it takes. But again, I thought Spagnuolo was really good. I thought Andy Reid was really good, and I think the coordinator who's going to have the sleepless night tonight for the Chiefs is Dave Tobe. Man, we're picking nits here in a terrific victory for the Chiefs, but why are you kicking? If you've got a kicker that can kick the ball out of the end zone and start the Ravens on the 25, why are you kicking for a return? What do you hope to gain out of that?
I agree. I honestly, and Andy didn't say anything after the game, but I just started to wonder if there's something wrong with Butker, just like physically, if he's carrying something, because missed the extra point, missed the field goal. One of those kicks now, I can't remember which one. I think it was the field goal. Actually, it looked like it might have gone in. Kind of went right over the
over the top.
Either way, that's he's usually down the middle, and the kickoffs were short. So I don't know. Andy didn't say anything after the game, but I did wonder about that. It was really odd. Even if last week didn't happen, you know what I mean. Even if last week he didn't hit 3 game winners in overtime, and have the best day that a kicker's ever had for the Chiefs. It was out of character. I don't know. It just seems like there's another explanation.
I just chalk it up as a bad day at the office. He's human. We all have bad days at the office, and maybe there was something because you look across the sidelines, they're across the field, and on the other opposing sideline, you got Justin Tucker over there. Maybe in your head, I want to show to him that I'm the best. I don't know. Maybe he put some pressure on himself. I'm just purely speculating here, but it was just a bad day at the office. Butker's solid as can be. I don't think people need to worry about him.
Kicker on kicker intimidation.
As Sam McDowell pointed out on Twitter during the game, there might have been reading a few too many Mellinger clippings on him, as well as a Kerkhoff clipping from earlier last week.
Which we need to add that somebody also said they always read too many, or that what was the line, Mellinger? Somebody said they read too many. Always read too many.
Same with me. It was great. Whoever.
But the reason I want to point it out is the mayor liked it, and it was a diss to Sam, whatever it was, and the mayor liked the tweet.
It was well executed, man. The prosecutors get shot.
Well, I don't know if I think what Butker was doing on that kickoff was following instructions. They wanted to return because every other kick went.
I think so
the end
too.
Zone.
I think it's a strategy.
It was a strategy, and Darwin Thompson had the contain on that, and let Duvernay get to the sideline. Not a good day for Darwin Thompson. Not only did he lose contain on that, but he lost the fumble on the first series of the second half. So tough day after, again, in Los Angeles last week, I remember him picking up the tough first down on 4th and 1 in overtime to keep the game-winning field goal drive alive. But tough night for the second-year pro, Darwin Thompson. So Butker misses the field goal, the extra point, and then the kickoff gets returned for a touchdown. All in all, you know what? If you had told me before the game that the Ravens would turn a kick for a touchdown, the Chiefs would lose the first turnover of the year, right? Lose a fumble, so lose a possession, and then have Butker miss leave 4 points on the field, I wouldn't have given you much chance of the Chiefs winning this game. But I don't know. That's just how good Andy Reid can be. Can we give him a little bit of credit for game planning this game and having this team ready? Was this an Andy Reid specialty?
Yeah, I thought so, and I want to just say that as by way of introducing the Sam Mellinger opportunity here to talk about screenplay, which I know is like your great fascination, and you break these things down in your spare time. But it looked to me like he conjured a couple up that we'd never seen anything the likes of before.
There was the stat going around from Mina Kimes about I'm going to butcher this a little bit, but the Ravens had given up like -2 yards on screens in the first 2 games. Is that right? I mean, they've just been like the best team in the league against screens. And I don't know if Andy, I assume that he's aware of something like that. Who knows? But when I heard that stat, it was kind of interesting, right? But being good against screens, when you're playing the Browns is a little bit different than when you're going against this group. It's when he did. So, because it was all in one possession, the screen to Edwards-Helaire that was on a 3rd down, they converted, and then a few snaps later, it's that middle screen where they fake a screen this way, they fake a screen that way, and then they throw to Kelsey in the middle and get a 1st down, and then just the ridiculous underhanded, like schemed up. No, the way you're going to throw this ball in a live NFL game, just underhand.
It wasn't even a shovel pass. It was underhand.
Yeah, it was an underhand throw.
It was a fast pitch softball thing.
Right. Every high school team has the coach that can't, just refuses to throw overhand now and just goes under. That's what that looks like.
Hey, Blair, speak just one other thing about game planning. I know we sort of said it with defense before, but really, I thought not only did they dominate up front, but I had the sense that they had a real feel for the pulse of what was coming. I felt like it was well scouted, or there were that Hitchens play breaking up the one pass, circling out in the flat. There were 6, 7, 8, 10 times I felt like they weren't just quick off the ball, that they really anticipated what they were going to get.
No, I think that's look. Well, how about this? So Patrick Mahomes improves to 10-0 in September. Starts with is 30 or 31 touchdowns.
32.
30. It's up to 32.
Yeah.
So he takes that into September 2021. But he made. I'll tell you what. He said this after the game, and I had forgotten this, that it was after they beat Baltimore last year that they had their 2-game losing streak. I didn't look that up to confirm it, but is that right? Is that when they played?
They beat Detroit in Week 4 last year.
Okay, well, all right. That's why I didn't look it up immediately. But so they beat Baltimore, then went to Detroit and won, and then lost to the Colts and the Texans in back-to-back weeks. So they got the Patriots coming in, and a Patriots team whose only loss is the last down play at Seattle a couple weeks ago, and with a new quarterback, but with a coach that is every bit the schemer that Andy Reid is. We'll spend a lot of time talking about this game and breaking it down on Thursday when we meet again. But this will be the first time that the Chiefs have not had a long week to prepare. You've got the opener, and then that was on a Thursday night, so they had extra time to prepare for the Chargers, and this was on a Monday night, so they had an extra day to get ready for the Ravens. Well, now they'll be shortened a day getting ready for the New England Patriots. Will there be some kind of emotional letdown for New England coming to Arrowhead next week?
It's hard to imagine that. I think the prep does matter. But I think more to the point of, Andy spent a lot of time talking about injuries tonight.
We need to go over those, by the way, Herbie, when Sam's finished. Let's go over those injuries.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, one fewer day to get guys right. But the Patriots, how Andy does it. He's not going to start preparing for the Patriots tonight, right? Like they've been doing some stuff, but it's a different Patriots team than what they're used to. Obviously, I mean, Cam Newton, the way they're using him with some really kind of creative blocking with his runs, especially in short yardage, is impressive. I don't know that that's the challenge. The run game for the Patriots is not the challenge that the Chiefs had tonight, but it's different.
Yeah. All right, Herbie. So what did Andy say about Chris Jones? Was a kind of a surprise one. Let's start with Andrew Wiley and go through the others that Andy Reid mentioned tonight.
Yeah, well, before the game, Andrew Wiley was dealing with some stomach issues, stomach illness, was rushed to the hospital. They evaluated him at the stadium, then he was taken to the hospital. Sources were telling me that the test came back negative for appendicitis, and then I reported just before the game was over that he did come back to the stadium. He was released, so he's probably on the plane back with the team itself. And then Andy Reid also mentioned that he was dealing with stomach issues, and he's okay. The big one is L'Jarius Sneed, and that's going to be one that we're going to probably watch very closely in the days here. Right shoulder injury, collarbone injury. They're probably going to be tested when they get back to Kansas City tomorrow, and we should know more on his status. But it does help that Ward is back, and then Rashad Breeland only has one more game left on his suspension. But not having Sneed, if he's out for some time here, is going to hurt this secondary. And then you mentioned Chris Jones suffered a slight, or what did Reid say, a groin tweak?
Yeah.
And then he'll be evaluated this week as well. But I think, like, when you look at those injuries there, Wiley, it looks like he's going to be okay. But the one I'm more concerned about is Sneed.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, and Mike Pennell was back tonight, right? I thought Rashad Fenton played a good game. I guess one of those things that maybe film study will reveal. I thought he was active and did well tonight. We'll have updated injury news each as we go through the week, get ready for Sunday's game against the Patriots. So,
but we do know we won't have any injury updates tomorrow because the guys will just be getting in.
But will they get that to us at some point? So, all right. Hey, let's close it down here. Thanks everybody for joining us. A ton of questions and comments. I wish I had done a better job of getting to them. I really appreciate all the all the feedback that you got to us. So, Vahe, have a safe trip back from Baltimore. Pete, Sam McDowell, Herbie, Sam Mellinger, thanks for joining us. Thanks to Beth, our terrific producer. And we will be back on Thursday, 9:30 in the morning, talking Chiefs and Patriots on Sports Beat Live. Good night.